My quarterback bust. And again, I just want to remind everyone, not returning ADP. Not that I think this is going to be a total bust quarterback 32 in the league here. All right. Just not returning ADP value, because I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate for this. My quarterback bust.
Patrick Mahomes.
I know. The shock. I could just feel the shock out there in the Twitterverse. Like, what? He says he's going to bust. Okay. He's currently going as QB2, which any other given year, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have a issue with this. I'd be fine with it. But I just, as we talked about, he lost his number one wide receiver in Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
They've brought in a bunch of replacement pieces that I'm not super confident in will replace that volume or that production, not the volume, the production. Juju, MVS, the other guys on the team, Sky Moore. I mean, McCall Hardman's still there. We just didn't, haven't seen anything on him. Kelsey's still
training camp reports look amazing, but
of course. Kelsey will be great, as he always is, but he is 32, entering his 33 age season, so he could hit the cliff at any time. I'm not expecting that this year. Let's make that clear. Not expecting that, but he could hit that cliff this year. It wouldn't surprise me. I just think, and then also shift gears for a second here. I think they're going to focus a little bit more on the run game too, because they got CEH, who's finally healthy after going into his third season here, because apparently he was, dealing with issues all last season. They brought in Ronald Jones, who is a thumper, not a pass catcher. He's a thumper. And Isaiah Pacheco has been looking great in camp as well. And lining up in the slot, I might add. So he could take
Sky Moore's lining up in the backfield, so he can be rushing
crazy
too.
World. My point with all this hyperbole is I think the offense is going to change a bit from what we've seen previously. They have a much stronger defense as well, which I know isn't necessarily fantasy related, but if it affects how long the offense is on the field or how much the offense is on the field, that in turn affects fantasy production, or could. While I do like the division they're in, and I do expect a lot of shootouts there in the AFC West with all the high-powered offenses there, I feel like drafting him at QB2, again, he's not going to be returning that. And I think you're going to take him at a spot where you're going to lose out on some other really good players being drafted around him that could bolster a different position of greater need than the quarterback, taking him at quarterback 2. So he is currently, where is he on here? Quarterback 2.
Are you making a song out of this? Quarterback 2. And how about you? Are you talking about like where his actual, where he's being drafted?
So he is currently being drafted 31 overall. So towards the end of the third, which isn't that bad, but here's some guys going around him. Now, let me know, and I guess this is all how you want to build your team, but we are not early quarterback guys necessarily. And can I speak for you and say that?
No, we follow the J.J. Zachariason model of late round quarterback typically.
Yeah, so guys going right after Mahomes. You've got T. Higgins, Montgomery, Pitts, Akers, Herbert is going 36. So not that much later, but then you got guys like Gibson, Pittman, Waddle, Kittle, Deontay Johnson. I mean, you got some really good skill position players there where if you're to wait a couple rounds and maybe get that next tier down of quarterback, you'll be getting better value. And this is all about the value at this point. Like I said, I don't think he's going to, when you're drafting him at quarterback 2, you're expecting him to finish quarterback 2 or quarterback 1. Anything lower than that, and it's you're not getting that value. So I can't see him ending up as a quarterback 2 this season. I just don't see it.
For me, it's more about like what tier of quarterback is he going to fall into rather than outright quarterback 1, quarterback 2. Because I have so many of these guys clumped pretty close together this year. I mean, he's right in the same window as Kyler Murray, as Lamar Jackson, as Jalen Hurts. Shocker.
So you're looking at more low-end QB1 than a high-end QB1.
All of those guys are going several spots behind him, or at least a couple of spots behind him. Like they're all below him in ADP. So I think part of this is just simply how much more value can you get at quarterback outside of Pat Mahomes? But I am not willing to say that like he's going to fall off in any way because of Tyreek Hill. I think it'll actually be pretty comparable to what we saw last season. I think it's just going to be spread around more. I think he's literally just going to spread the ball more than ever. We kind of talked about that when you were mentioning Travis Kelce. I'm actually shocked Travis Kelce was not your bust this week because you were not super high on his receiving yardage for this year. So I almost thought that you would be going with Travis Kelce. That's why I didn't put Travis Kelce in there, by the way. So honorable mention for me as tight end bust, Travis Kelce. But I do think that Mahomes will be just fine. So I'm not going to call him a bust. I will say that there are other guys I'll take because they're falling lower in the draft. And it's just because of that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Little semantics, I suppose, at that point. But I love a good semantism.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Right.
I love a semantism more than I love this quarterback, Dak Prescott, who is going as the quarterback 8 currently on Fantasy Pros. So extrapolating the Patrick Mahomes argument out just a little bit further, here's the type of guys that are going around Dak Prescott. So again, Dak Prescott at QB 8. Jalen Hurts is quarterback 7. Jalen Hurts legitimately has a shot to rush for 800 plus yards this season and has the addition of A.J. Brown. Dak Prescott does not have that. Dak Prescott lost to Amari Cooper. We've talked about this last episode, so I won't belabor it, but lost Cooper. He lost Cedric Wilson. Michael Gallup is going to be hurt to start the year. He's not coming back right away. I think there could be an emphasis to get Pollard and Zeke much more involved here, not necessarily just on dump-offs either, but a lot more rushing attempts. So Dak Prescott is sitting at 8. Tom Brady's right after him with number 9. Russell Wilson is at 10. Matthew Stafford's at 12 with his, I don't care about his arm issue that people are freaking out about right now. You want to talk about how much more value can be had beyond Dak Prescott? It's endless. Trey Lance sitting at QB 13. It's so much more about all of these guys below him being a little bit disrespected. And I think Dak Prescott is just this middling quarterback for you this year because Dak has not been rushing much at all lately. I mean, I know the year he first came back, that was due to his injury. But then last year, he had a significant drop-off in how much they let him run. They are protecting him way more, which is great for real-life NFL football. You want to keep your franchise guy upstanding and healthy. I get that. This is not the case for fantasy. For fantasy, you want them to live a little dangerously. You want your Lamar Jacksons who just fucking go and take a little bit of a chance. To me, there's no difference this year between Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, except I actually think Kirk Cousins has a higher ceiling for once than Dak Prescott, and Kirk is going at quarterback 14. There's no way that Dak is inside my top 10 for this year. There's nothing that has changed positively for him. So I don't understand why his ranking is like that.
Yeah, I agree. I just, with the injuries we've seen, Gallup not coming back soon, James Washington out for the season, Amari Cooper out of town now. Yeah, he's lost a lot of weapons on that offense that, we've seen these last few years, which made us really excited about it. And I agree. I think this offense will kind of take a small step backwards. And again, it's Mike McCarthy. We have our personal feelings about this that we try to keep out of it, but I just can't do it. I can't, and I won't. I'll be honest. So yeah, I do agree with you, Jake, that I think he will not return this value this season and be a bust.
Here's a really interesting one. If we just want to do a quick this or that, because I think this is where we start seeing, to me, the rankings where they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr is quarterback 15. Straight up, would you rather have Derek Carr with the addition of Devontae Adams or Dak Prescott?
Oh, I'd probably still take Dak. I think he's got a little bit more of a rushing floor than Carr. No, I mean, it's not significant, but I would still take Dak over him.
How about just to throw this one out? Because I think this is batshit. Nobody's going to believe me on this, but Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott?
Well, if you listened to our show last week, I'm all in on the Jaguars offense, apparently. So I guess I'll have to say Lawrence, just based on the fact that I have it on tape that I love the Jags offense this year.
I baited you. I fucking baited you. Straight up, I would still take Dak straight up. But this is what we're talking about, though, with the value at quarterback 20 of taking Trevor Lawrence. And the ceilings are identical to me. The ceilings are absolutely identical. I understand that Dak does have a much safer floor. So I would still take him straight up, but I am enticed by Trevor Lawrence. I won't lie.